Hello everybody, so I thought we'd continue with the Col Russell Williams interview with Adam. Hello Adam.
Hi Andrew, hi everyone.
So we were up to quite a pivotal part, weren't we? Where basically his confidence has disappeared, and he's on the ropes basically, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Because we've got he started to put evidence in front of him. If you remember, there was the tyre marks and also
foot imprints, the shoe prints.
That's right. The foot imprints were the most damning, weren't they? Because he was basically saying that it's as good as his fingerprint.
Yeah. Whether or not that was just a tactic to get him to start talking or not, but well, it worked. So well done.
Right, so we're pretty much where we left off, so let's...
Jim Smith is the interviewer's name. That's it. Jim Smith.
Oh, what's his name, sorry?
Jim Smith.
Jim Smith, right.
But it's Smith with a Y. Maybe it's Jim Smythe. I don't know.
But he's that guy, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
It's another, and again, don't take this wrong, okay? But you can see if you step outside this room in your mind and imagine how people are going to view you, okay? If the truth comes out after the clear evidence is presented to you, when you finally go, okay, I'm screwed now, what are we going to do?
We just had a bit of a jump then, didn't we?
Was there?
Yeah, he was... Was you not watching?
I was, yeah, but did it was it like cut out on the actual video?
No, what I mean is he was like leaning forward and just suddenly within a split second he's leaning back again. Now whether it was just a couple... Anyway, let's just crack on. It might not be a massive issue.
Russell, you know there's only one option. What other option is there?
What's the option?
Well, I don't think you want the cold-blooded psychopath option.
Yeah, so I think we've had, it's just jumped by 20
Because
seconds.
don't get me wrong, I've met guys who actually kind of enjoyed the notoriety, got off on it, got off on having that label. Bernardo being one of them. I don't see that in you. If I saw that in you, I wouldn't be back in here talking to you, quite frankly.
This is quite an interesting tactic, isn't it? Because I think what he's doing here is he's giving him the option to sort of be a human being for the last time, isn't he? And show some kind of
remorse.
You know, he's trying to draw on if there was any humanity left inside him, any compassion.
Yeah, well, also he mentions the Paul Bernardo case, which was very high profile. I think that was actually a few people I saw in your comments on the first part of this asked what was the other interview that Jim Smith did. And I think that's the one where he plays bad cop in it, and his demeanour's very different to this one. And he's that Paul Bernardo was a really dark character. Well, so is this guy though.
Yeah, so I mean, he's basically saying, well, if you don't tell us what we need to know, then you're becoming this monster. But you try and help us out, and you're showing that you're still a human being. He's trying to draw on that, isn't it? It'd be interesting to see whether that works or not. Because anybody in that what he's done, you would suggest that they're that far gone. Is it really going to work? Well, I suppose you've got to try, haven't you? What else do you do? Because you can't use the aggressive option, can you?
But also this guy, I think, like it's a bit different, like the tactics he takes with him because of his position in the Air Force and he's supposedly a family man and stuff. So he's trying to make him think about. Does he want to just go straight to a cell without any explanation and everyone just thinks of him as this, well he is, but if everyone just thinks of him as this horrible rapist murderer, or does he want to use this last opportunity to try and explain himself?
Yeah, indeed.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you got me fooled. I don't know. This is over. And it can have a bad ending where Jessica's parents continue to wonder where her daughter's lying. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's a huge search still underway, and it'll continue. It'll continue until her body's found. That might even happen tonight, for all I know. Once that happens, then I don't know what other cards you would have to play. What are we going to do?
It'd be a very strange moment for this Williams fella now, because he's at this moment in time, he's still a free man, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's still got a life. He kind of hasn't, but really, technically speaking, he's still a free man, and he's not confessed to anything, and he's not been charged. So it's like he's clinging on desperately to a life, and he knows that within a few seconds or a few minutes, everything has gone. Everything. I mean, literally.
Well, I think that silence there is him thinking it's his last kind of thought. Is there any way I can get out of this? And he's realising there really isn't.
Yeah, of course. It's basically him desperately coming to terms with the situation that he's in, because it's like what makes this interview so sort of interesting, I suppose, is that how cocky he was, and it even says it in the description of the video. It's how cocky he was when he walked in, and then suddenly look at him now. Arms folded, frowning, dejected. Yeah. He's come to terms. He's having to come to terms with not only what he's done, but also what he is.
Yeah.
And I don't think maybe up until this point he probably hasn't, has he? Because I obviously can't go into the mind of a serial killer, but one would assume that they just sort of, in his case, they go with it. And they just get off on whatever it is they do, and then they don't really have to face up to what they really are, do they?
I think to do things as heinous as he's done, you must lack very much in conscience. Like killing doesn't mean a thing to him. Like to take, I mean, in the case of this and all other kind of murderers and rapists, the lack of humanity never fails to astound me. Like how people can do something so terrible and not be remorseful about it immediately afterwards. But I suppose people like you and I wouldn't do it in the first place. So
yeah, I think the term psychopath is probably apt. It just means you've sort of lost the ability to empathise. Really, you've just lived a life that is that far away from reality. You kind of not really there anymore, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Can't do much commentary on complete silence, can we?
No, but it's quite compelling, just that moment of silence, though.
What are we going to do?
Only rest, please.
Okay. What are we going to do, Russ? Jessica somewhere we can find her easily? Like, is this something where I can make a call and tell somebody to go to a location and they're going to find her, or is this something where we have to go and take a walk?
he's still trying to get out of it. You can see in his mind, he's still not admitted to anything yet, but he knows there's no other route to go down now.
Which direction are we heading in here?
I'm not necessarily think it's kind of thinking of a way he can get out of it. I think I think maybe that's a part of it, but I think it's still just him clinging to his freedom for the last. He's holding on to his freedom for as long as he possibly can.
Yeah.
Because it's, maybe a year ago, this guy would never have contemplated that that he could be in this position. And even at the start of the interview, I mean, to say if you go into a police station knowing you've brutally murdered someone and done whatever you've done with them, and then just to be so calm and cocky is quite remarkable, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So he's a tough guy. There's no doubt about that.
Russ, maybe this would help. Can you tell me what the issue is you're struggling with? What's the issue you're struggling with?
Has anybody ever done a YouTube video, like a commentary or analysis, just silence?
So much silence, yeah. Well, apologies to your audience for the silence, but I think it's quite important that remains in, so you see this kind of part of the interview.
Yeah, it's true. That was the little tiny bit of show of strength there where he puffs out his shoulders and, sorts himself out. It's like, I'm still me, I'm still powerful.
It's hard to believe this is happening.
Why is that?
Did he say it's hard to believe this is happening?
Yeah.
He's not registered fully that he's been caught.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like we've said, isn't it? For him to walk in so cocky at the beginning, he must have thought all the bases were covered.
Yeah.
Why is it hard to believe?
And that's what I mean when I say that I believe that he's just clinging to freedom. But you're right, there will obviously be a part of him, a defence mechanism, and think, well, what can I do? What bullshit could I come out with? And he's just kind of realising, well, either someone stole his car.
Whose decision was it? And we're going to find out the answer to this anyway. But whose decision was it to issue the directive to the base personnel that nobody had to speak to the police and to seek legal counsel before they were questioned?
I don't think that was
My understanding, that direction came from somebody that reports to you. What do you think they're going to say, Russ?
No.
What do you think they're going to say? All right, and let's step back for a second here, okay? I really don't think it benefits you or makes you look any better to start debating the little issues.
No,
okay?
but that is news to me.
Okay.
I have a legal officer that reports to me
Yeah.
who may have given that direction.
Okay.
But that's the first time I've heard it. If that's true,
Okay.
that's the first time I've heard that.
All right, and that may be the case, but how does it look? Right? We're not even dealing with something that's really even evidence because it's not needed. I mean, when you have DNA and all this other stuff, that's not even.
What
really
was the
an issue.
direction?
I don't recall, but it was something along the lines of telling the people on the base that they weren't required legally to speak with police and they should seek legal counsel before they decide to speak. But
Well, if that was actually said, it would not have been to the base at large. It may have been to the individual, the boyfriend who was the suspect.
okay, my understanding, it went out to all personnel.
No, absolutely.
Maybe no, only under your command. I don't know.
It didn't.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
didn't ever see it.
That's fine. Now let's get back to the issue. What's that?
So you talk about perception. My only two immediate concerns from a perception perspective are what my wife must be going through right now
Yeah.
and the impact this is going to have on the Canadian forces.
Where do we go? Russ, is there anything you want from me? Is there anything you want me to explain? Is there something missing that you're struggling with that I can shed some light on for you?
I'm struggling with how upset my wife is right now.
Russ, what are you looking for?
What a dick.
Did he say I'm struggling with how upset my wife is right now?
Yeah, because the police, because he mentioned when we did the first part, the police were there, they had a warrant to search the house and stuff. It's like, he's got, oh, I'm struggling with how upset my wife is. It's like, well, how do you think the parents of your fucking victims feel?
That was a pretty shitty thing to say, but then again, you'd expect nothing less from somebody like this guy.
Yeah.
He's trying to woe is me kind of thing,
Yeah. Well, he also, that annoyed me, he goes, I wonder the impact this will have on the Canadian forces. Well, you should have thought about that shit before you started killing people for your own fucking horrible sexual gain.
I know, it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm concerned that they're tearing apart my wife's brand new house.
So am I. But if nobody tells them what's there and what's not, they don't have no choice. Computers will be brought to Microsoft in California. They'll be picked apart. You can't erase things from computers. It doesn't happen. I'm sure you've seen that. I'm sure that's pretty common knowledge these days. It just doesn't happen. They sell programs that to try and help people clean their computers of stuff, and our guys are pulling that stuff out all the time. The FBI is pulling that stuff out all the time. This investigation will end up costing no less than $10 million. Easy. And they will say no to nothing. Any request this major case manager makes on this case, they've already been told it's approved. Don't even bother asking.
It's a good tactic, isn't it? He's just, yet again, he knows he's got him where he wants him, but yet he still can't get exactly at this moment what he wants. So he's just continually trying to drown him, isn't he? Saying, listen, there's unlimited budget. We've got A, B, and C. Your house is being ripped apart. He just keeps hammering home how fucked he is, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. What he's saying, like the resources are unlimited, so you may as well confess now. That's what he's getting at, isn't he?
Of course, yeah. He's just trying to enclose him in even further, even though he knows it's just because obviously a confession on tape, it just makes their job a lot better, easier, and obviously to find if they can somehow get him to tell them where the body is, then the amount of resources that they will be saved. It's not obviously. He keeps saying the parents, but really, it's police resources and money that would be saved, wouldn't it? You know, at the end of the day.
Oh, well, I think it's a bit of both as well. I mean, obviously it's not fair what's happened to the parents' daughter, but they would need some kind of closure, wouldn't they? And it'd be a lot easier if this guy just spoke about it than refused to say anything. And I think this is what Jim Smith is worried about at the moment, because there's been so much silence. He's worried he's just going to hold his tongue and they're just going to have to charge him based on factual evidence, whereas they want a full confession, don't they?
Yeah, of course. One sort of interesting point is, though, why doesn't he just stop the interview and get legal advice?
I think part of that comes down to his kind of ego and bravado. Like, he's walked in there. Like, I think, to be honest, like I said, we can't really put our minds set into someone like this, but I think you wouldn't really be thinking that clearly at this point. He's more thinking, what the hell is going to happen to me next? So he's probably not thinking about solicitors. I mean, the thing is, once you've had those facts put in front of you, you said, okay, we can put you at the scene, we've got your footprints, we know your vehicle was there, there's no way out of it. I mean, getting an attorney, what's it going to do for him, really?
Yeah, you're right, but, yeah.
I think once you've got like double murder pinned on you with no backing out, you're looking at like at least a life sentence, aren't you? So even if you got an attorney, all the attorney would be able to do is try and get him a lesser sentence.
I put my best foot forward here for you, bud.
True.
I really have. I don't know what else to do to make you understand the impact of what's happening here.
I think it's a very clever tactic as well. He's not directly come out and asked him the question, has he? Have you killed such a body?
No.
Because I think he knows that he won't respond to that. He's got to very subtly bring it in, and it's like, tell me where she is, rather than have you killed her. You know what I mean?
I think like that's if once he starts saying where the body is, that's the confession, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yeah, it's just obviously it's a tactic that, you know, he's being interviewed about murder basically, but not being asked that question directly.
Yeah.
I want to minimize the impact on my wife.
So do I.
So how do we do that?
Well, we start by telling the truth.
I mean, that's pretty low, isn't it? You know, he's in that situation and he just keeps babbling on about his wife. He's trying to use her to make him feel sorry for her. It's like, what? You know, it's just despicable, isn't it?
It is. It's like if you gave a shit about your wife or about anything, you wouldn't be in this position. So, you know, obviously, yeah, it's not fair on his wife, but that's what's going to happen if you go around raping and murdering people.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Okay. So where is she?
Got a map?
Is she close to where she lives? I've got maps of that general area. Which town is she near? Why don't we start there?
I'm not sure if you give me a map of that covers Calagar down to the highway.
And that part there, him asking for a map, is the first sort of confession, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. He's like, okay, I'm willing to cooperate now. I mean, that's it. He said he knows where the body is, so he did it. There's no question about that now.
It's you know, the sort of interview has took on another taken another turn, basically, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's just once.
Now we're getting Tweed and stuff. I'll show you.
Let me see what I got here. I might have something. Is she inside, outside? Probably the biggest area I have there, Russ.
You need more. You need a real map.
So where am I going on here to get to her?
In this block here.
Okay. So you're pointing to
a detailed map of that area, and I'll show you where she is.
Okay. Is she close to a road?
Yep.
All right. Is it something where is she buried, or is she somewhere where if you walk there you would fairly easily see her?
It's here.
Okay. So she's south of 7, east of Tweed,
Mm-hmm.
west of 41.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this road here?
Not sure.
Neither am I. Okay. I'll be right back, okay? Do you want any water or anything?
Sure.
Okay, I'll be right back. How long has she been there for?
A little over a week.
Was it fairly quick from the time she left?
Friday night.
Friday night?
Yep.
So where was she between Thursday night and Friday night?
In Tweed.
With you?
Yep.
How long was she alive for?
Almost 24 hours, not quite.
Okay. Russ? You're doing the right thing here. Okay.
Well,
Jesus, that's I tell you what, that interviewer, he's something else. Like, you know, to sort of shake that guy's hand in that situation.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real takes a man to do that, doesn't it?
It takes, yeah. Well, I think he knows what's happening. I mean, I don't think I'd be able to shake his hand, but
I
mean, he's just a professional, isn't he? He wants to get the job done. He doesn't care how he gets it done.
Yeah, it's very true.
He's accomplished his goal, really. Well, not the entire... Well, he's accomplished his goal in that he's got a confession out of him, and he's now got the information of roughly where the body is, so he can now go and tell the team and save the resources and money of the department a lot of time and effort, can't he?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we'll pause there. It's a good point as he's walking out of the room. The rest of the interview, it's very, very long. I'm not going to cover all of it, but what I will do...
Well, the next bit's where we get balls deep into it, so to speak.
Oh, really bad choice of words there, Adam. But yes, it will be quite. Some people won't be able to stomach it, but we'll it's a video that's already available, so why not go into it? So
well,
we'll leave it.
This is my favourite interview of all time. I mean, obviously not because of what happened or anything, just because of the way it's conducted and the. Well, don't want to give anything away, but we'll see in the next parts just how much information that Jim Smith does get out of Russell Williams.
Yeah, of course. It, there is some quite good bits coming up. There's no doubt about that. As you can see, there's quite a lot to go. So, Adam, thanks again for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And I'll speak to you again later, guys.